So when you look at Bajaj Finserv AMC's progress so far, what are some of the, or maybe even just one, initiative or innovation that you're particularly proud of?
So there's something which we launched, which is an industry first, which is something which we call Savings Plus.
Okay.
Right? So I think this is an initiative which has a huge opportunity for anybody having a savings account. Right? Now, fundamentally, our savings account is a product which typically gives us, let's say about 3.5% kind of an annual return, fully taxable. Right? Now, as a financial expert, typically you would not want to invest in such a product because it doesn't even meet inflation, right? And it's also taxable. But it's also true that most of us keep way too much money in our savings accounts, right? So it's in a way an inefficient solution which we've been living with, right? And there were reasons, we always used to keep a little extra. We never knew when you might need to have an emergency, etc. Right? But today, using technology, there are things like account aggregator, where once customer gives consent, right, you have the ability to assess the last 6 months bank statement for the customer and identify how much surplus balance the customer has been keeping, right, in their savings account.
Yeah.
Surplus means after meeting all of their expenses, credit card bills, EMIs, so on and so forth. Now, once you identify that, it's also possible to very easily identify how much incremental return they could make by investing that surplus in a liquid or an overnight fund.
Correct.
And that can be quite substantial, right? So we did the calculation, and for every 1 lakh that you keep extra in your savings account, you're actually losing almost 10 rupees every day.
Wow.
10 rupees every day, right? So this is a significant lost opportunity for many, many people. At a country level, Anupam, we keep about 20 lakh crores in savings accounts in the country, right?
Huge number.
That's a lost return of almost 80,000 crores a year, every year, right? That's like $10 billion. So recently, FIIs pulled out $10 billion and there was such a huge noise in the market on that. But we lose that amount of money every year, right? So what we've done is we've created a solution for this where it becomes a very easy process for people to identify their surplus balance and make it work harder for them, right? And generate extra returns on their own hard-earned money, right? Plus, redemptions are also very, very easy in this. There's an Insta redemption where up to 50,000 people can actually redeem within a few seconds.
Oh, okay.
Right? So even liquidity is very, very easy on this. Anything above 50,000 within the next day, you get that money. Yeah. And most people don't need 50,000 or above in a pinch. And if they do, then they typically use a credit card or some other payment instrument, right? So we believe this is a game-changing sort of an opportunity. And by the way, when something like this was launched in China, right, this actually became the world's largest money market fund.
Wow.
Right? And the return differential was very similar to what it is in India.
Okay.
Right? So the conditions are exactly the same: large population, return arbitrage, and that's really, I think, a huge opportunity that we as Indians are foregoing at this point. Yeah. So it's almost a national kind of a crisis that we need to address.
Okay. So the mutual fund industry is evolving quite rapidly in India. What is one thing about it that you think young investors might misunderstand?
So if you look at the heart of it, right, mutual funds, typically most people invest in equity funds, right? So a lot of investors think that, it's a portfolio of equity funds, I can do it myself, right? What they end up missing out is there is a lot of value of fund management, which is not necessarily easy to see, right? So portfolio sizing, allocation, decisions of when to churn, tracking and research of the companies, these are things which, a portfolio manager, this is their day-to-day job, right? For most people, you cannot devote that kind of time, right, unless you're 100% dedicated to this, to do all of these things, right? So a professional fund manager actually can add a lot of value to all investors. The second aspect which most people don't know about or have not fully appreciated is the taxation structure within mutual funds, right? So transactions within the fund structure are not taxed, right? So if you were, let's say, within a year doing a transaction in your own equity portfolio, it would be taxable at slab rates.
Correct.
Right? Now, within a mutual fund, that is not so. So there are significant benefits that accrue, and over a long period of time, that compounds as well, right? So these are, I would say, a couple of relatively large value drivers that mutual funds as an industry provide, which many people are not aware of.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risk. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.